There we go.
All right. Let's see. All right, Shalom Israel. We're the I.S.U.P.K. Started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York City, under Commander General Yohana, established in 1969. Not affiliated with any other Israelite group. We teach the truth according to the Bible that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the true Hebrew Israelites. All right, so today we're gonna get into our sisters in these scriptures. We know that brotherhood is a weapon, and when we talk about brotherhood, I know that sisterhood is also a weapon as well. You know what I mean? And it's not only important for our brothers to get in order, but it's also important for our women to be in order as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially not just as sisters, but even as wives and as mothers, so on and so forth. So we're going to get into a few of these women scriptures to kind of get the aspect of where our women should be. And we can use that to compare to see where our women are today. That way we can be able to, kind of like, for any of those women who are, in the classes or don't know the truth, they can be able to use this to be able to have something to align themselves back up to it at their natural order. All right. So let me go ahead and let's get Proverbs 31:10 real quick. Let's just start there. Like I said, a sister is a very beneficial piece of our nation. The sisters have our babies, which these babies, keep our nation, growing. They have sons and we raise those boys to be soldiers. They have daughters and we raise those daughters to be just like their mothers, to be able to support our nation, heal our nation, all of the different things that goes into taking advantage of what a woman is able to do off her natural attributes and abilities. Like, we train those daughters up to do the same thing, so we keep this nation going and being built, and a woman is a big part of that. So let's just see what the scripture says about a virtuous woman. Go ahead and read.
We got Proverbs chapter 31 verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman?
Okay, so it says, who can find a virtuous woman? Go ahead.
For her price is far above rubies.
Right. For her price is far above rubies. So we already see now that in the Bible, a virtuous woman is not just like any other woman. You understand? Because we know that women are everywhere. It's a lot more women than it is men. So it's not just talking about a woman in general. It's talking about a specific kind of woman, a virtuous woman. A virtuous woman is far above rubies. Who can find her? Right? Because even though you have so many women out here, you got women that's on OnlyFans and they twerking their ass off. You got women that's out here on the strip and they selling their box. You got women that's don't have any idea of what it means to be a wife or be a girlfriend, and they having sex with men and throwing them away and ruling over their man and putting them on child support, and got all kind of people watching their kids, and their kids is all over the place. So ultimately, it's just not about finding a woman. And a lot of our women today are destroyed. A lot of our brothers today are destroyed. And it's going to take the truth of the Lord through the I.S.U.P.K that was established in 1969 to bring our brothers and sisters back into order. Okay, so men like us that have raised up are able to come out and correct our brothers and correct our sisters. And what our sisters have become today is very destroyed and very monstrous, and it's a big part of why we're failing as a nation. All together. Okay, so let's go ahead and read it again. Read it from the top one more time. So
we have Proverbs chapter 31 verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. Right,
far above rubies. This is a valuable woman, okay? This is a valuable woman. So let's go get into it just a little bit, because I don't want to get too deep into this, but let's just touch on some of the things that a virtuous woman is or what she does. Go ahead and read.
Verse 11. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her.
Go ahead.
So that he shall have no need of spoil.
Right, so that's one thing. Wife, she doesn't, so let's so as a wife, she doesn't she doesn't, she does what she needs to do and works and brings stuff to the table so that her husband doesn't have to ever feel like he has to go and commit a crime or suffer because of the system or whatever he has to do, because of white supremacy or oppression. He'll always be able to trust in her, right?
Right.
He'll always be able to trust in her to be able to survive, to be able to be fed, to be supported, to be, to give a kickstart to his career or his life or whatever it is. And when you listen to that, you see how different it is in comparison to what women promote today. Women promote today, what can man do for her? What this man could do for me? Like, does he have a job? Is he strong? Is he tall? Is he, is he popular? How does he dress? What's his credit score? All of these things to gauge a man based on what they think the value of a man should be, right? So the thing about it is, according to the Bible, a man, like the scripture says, shall be made like fine gold. You understand? So the value is not in what a man has. The value is in himself. Like the man himself is valuable, right? We know that because that's who the Lord put his authority in. That's what the Lord gave dominion over the earth, who put in order on the earth, right? Head of the nations of the earth. That's why you see Moses and Christ and Peter and so many different other brothers that's put in charge. And these are the people that the Lord uses to delegate his power, his authority. So the value is in the man himself. But because women go to Christian churches and they go to the Muslim mosque, so on and so forth, they learn a different ideology based on what a man should be or what they should be as a woman or as a wife, and it's completely led our women astray. Because now, when a woman could be the backbone of keeping these families strong and keeping these men, supported and healthy and pushing forward and out of the streets, instead they're the ones putting them in the streets. They're the ones putting them out into the streets. They're the ones that's putting them into the system. Got them going into the system, whether it's through child support or fighting and criminal domestic violence and so on and so forth. When a virtuous woman, like we just read right now, would never do that. A virtuous woman would do everything in her power to make sure that her man never has to spoil, never has to, feel the need of anything. He'll always be able to lean on, her.
That's right.
Okay, so read
verse 12. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life.
She will do him good and not evil all the days of his life. So, when we think about, like I said, when we think about sisters today, man, they, like I said, if things ain't going their way, then they arguing, they complaining, they throwing you away, they threatening to go sleep with another man, they threatening to take your kids away from the man. They doing all of these evil things, and this is against what a virtuous woman should be doing.
Right.
So again, our sisters today have taken on a spirit that is not of the Bible, that is not of the Lord. This is the spirit of the Lord here, that these sisters would work hard, and that their husband don't have to, that their husband will be able to trust in her, and that they will do him good. They would do him good all the days of his life and no evil at all. Right? Okay, so let's go ahead and continue to read just a little bit more.
Verse 13. She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands.
Right. She worketh willingly with her hands. Give me 1 Corinthians 11:3. She worketh willingly with her hands, man. Like sisters have to be more what's the word? They just have to tap into their abilities, say a lot more. Like those abilities that they have to be able to make money, to be able to, put things together, create things and start businesses and run businesses and consider things and consider businesses. Like nobody said a woman being, obedient to a man means that she can't be the head of something, or she can't be, a doctor or a lawyer, have degrees, or go to college or start a business and be a CEO and be a boss. Nobody said that. That's not what it means to be submissive or to be a man's possession, that you're just an animal or an object. That's not what that means, right? That's establishing right there what we reading when it talks about obeying your man or serving your man is order. That's it. And order, all things comes order. Even when you do decide to go to college and get a degree and get a master's, you're going to have to be under some kind of hierarchy in the education system. When you go to work and get a career going and you join the medical facility or the business or corporate world, you're going to be a part of some type of hierarchy in that industry. There's going to be a hierarchy. You understand? This is only establishing a hierarchy when it comes to the order that the Most High established between a black man, a black woman, and black children, right? Meaning the children of Israel, his chosen people. And it gets more in depth with that right here in this scripture we about to read right now. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is Yahweh.
Right. So again, this is the order. Like I said, our brothers are destroyed too. Our brothers are destroyed because we don't follow Christ. How do we follow Christ? The only way you can follow Christ is to be under the order of Christ. Like we brought out, the order of Christ, you understand, is being under, having him as your head. So when you think about the I.S.U.P.K, we was established in 1969, right? We are the first school that the Lord established his spirit with, right? Put his spirit in for us to be able to have the truth in these last days, right? For us to be able to go out and warn the people of the destruction, shoot them their transgressions, so on and so forth. And that's how you see brothers like ourselves who are able to change our lives and become and fill those shoes of the priests, of the warriors. You understand? The warriors are in the host of the Lord. So we're now taking that order and cleaning ourselves and using it to clean our people. So when you have that order the way it needs to be, everything that the Lord put before you that he calls good is for you to have. All the blessings, all of the good, all of the promises, the glory, the kingdom of heaven, man. All right. So, but we have, like I said, pertaining to our women, we have been miseducated, right? Because the woman is told that she can be, the head of the household, that she should be the head, or she could be equal in the household. And that caused so much problem within families because that's not how anything is ran. Nothing is ran equally. Nothing is ran, equally. And now on top of that, when it comes to the order of the Lord, is a woman cannot be the head of the man, because we just read right now the order that the Lord established. Read it one more time.
1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 3. Mm-hmm. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, mm-hmm. and the head of Christ is Yahweh.
Right. The head of the woman is the man. Like that's how he arranged it for it to be. The man be the head over the woman because the man is who he works through. All right. And then whatever whatever we as men receive from the Lord, we pass down that instruction and those teachings to our women, to our sisters. Okay, so we have been, like I said, because of Christianity, because of America, because of feminism, all of these different organizations and ideologies, right. Our women have taken on a spirit that's totally took them away from the order of the Lord, or the order that the Lord established for them to be in. And it's completely destroying our families, You understand? There's so much fighting, so much divorce, so much, like I said, criminal domestic violence, single parent homes. All of that comes from lack of order, and not only for men not being over their women, or women not allowing men to be over them, but men not allowing Christ to be the head of their life as well. Being in the UPK, learning the truth of what the Most High taught us is supposed to be righteous and what's not righteous, and what we're supposed to do and what we're not supposed to do. So everything has to be in order, and we're coming into a time now where all of the destruction that's going on in the earth, all of the destruction that's going on, all of the plagues, and the deaths that's happening. We in the last days, and a lot of people are waking up, and the more and more it happens, the more and more there's going to be a great value for a man just to be a man. All right, go ahead and read that one more time.
1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 3. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Christ, mm-hmm. and the head of the woman is the man, mm-hmm. and the head of Christ is Yahweh.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, drop that. Give me 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9.
Okay.
Like, so again, that's the order of the household. So a woman can go out, just because she's under a man in order. You understand? She could still go and be all she can be in this economy. Like, as far as anything lawful, she shouldn't go out and be a cop or in the military, join the military. She shouldn't go do prostitution or stripping just because it's legal, OnlyFans and all of that other stuff. She shouldn't do that. But if she wanted to go to school and get get an education and get a degree, start a career, be a boss, be a doctor, a lawyer, whatever she wants to be, like, she can definitely do that. All of those things are necessary. We need lawyers, we need doctors, we need businessmen, we need businesswomen, we need all of these things. So it's nothing wrong with doing that. It's nothing wrong with being the CEO of a company, taking those finances and investing it into something to start businesses for your families and so on and so forth. So she could lead in those areas for sure. But when it comes to the order of the household and how it should be ran, when it comes to what should be done or how finances should be spent, that's up to the head of the household, which is the man. All right. Go ahead and drop that. Give me this scripture right here. What we got?
We got 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 9. In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
Adorn themselves in modest apparel. Like, it's been so weird. We've been so far. Like I said, when we said the title says black women have been led astray,
right.
Like, they're so far off that not only are they not dressing modest, they're dressing as slutty as they can possibly dress. Like, as slutty as they can dress. Like, whatever the sluttiest outfit they can find on the internet, whatever the sluttiest outfit they can find in the stores, that's what they're going for. That's what they're looking and shopping for online. Like, how slutty is this? How many men are going to drool over me in this? You know what I mean? Like, how many men are going to be, click likes on my Instagram with this on?
Right.
That's what they want to do. But it's so far removed from what we're supposed to be. And this is it right here. Read it one more time.
We got 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9. In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
So they supposed to be adorning themselves in modest apparel. Okay? And when we get right here in the Zondervan, when we look up the word modest, Slovakia, where we at? Okay, I don't think they have it in here. You can look it up on the Webster's if you can. To look up what the word modest means, so we can understand what the Lord is asking for, calling or requiring of our sisters. Go ahead.
Modest, unassuming, or moderate in the estimation of one's abilities or achievements.
Go down.
Definition 2, relatively limited or small.
Yeah, go ahead, find it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Find the one relative to what we're talking about. Yeah, number 3 right there.
Number 3 right was hidden. This is definition 3. It says dressing or behaving so as to avoid impropriety or indecency.
Right. You understand? To avoid, and what does it say?
Impropriety.
Right. Impropriety or indecency. Like, when it says that you're supposed to avoid indecency, like, you have to dress, it's about how you dress and your behavior. This is what we don't see today. You understand? Everything that we see our women doing today is indecent.
Right.
I'm talking about, like, you can, they don't leave nothing to the imagination anymore. Right. I mean, like, you can pretty much see a woman's whole box and some of these outfits they wear. You can see the circumference of their whole backside in some of these outfits. Like, they chest, you can see the nipples. Like, I forget about it. You understand? Like, forget about it. Like, the nipples, like, I don't know when it became a new thing, but to not wear a bra and to have your bare chest, with the tight shirt and your nipple print showing is a common thing, and that's indecent. That's indecent. And then women wonder why they're always in counseling. They're always in therapy. They're always suffering and afflicted and alone and mistreated, because it's how you present yourself. It's how you're presenting yourself. You're presenting yourself in such a way that's saying, treat me this way. Treat me like a piece of meat. Treat me like flesh. You understand?
Right.
Because nobody's thinking about what you have on your shoulders, because all they can think about is those nipples that's pointing at them all day. All they can think about is that butt. You understand? And they're gonna tell you anything to get to that. They not hearing nothing you saying. They're gonna take everything you saying and flip it and tell you anything they want to hear just to be able to get in your drawers, to be able to get a piece of what they see. And that's indecent. That's indecency. You understand? Like if you look like a whore, then you get treated like a whore. And that's what's been happening. But we don't have to see our women like that. And our women, you don't have to be like that. Because in order for you to be righteous and if you really love God and you really fear the Lord and you really care about yourself and acquiring good things outside of money, but having a husband and a family and a happy relationship, someone who loves you and talks to you respectfully, right? You have to follow these orders. You have to follow these guidelines. Read it one more time, right?
First Timothy chapter 2, verse 9. In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
Modest apparel. So all of that, all of them freakum dresses and all of that, like, and your cutoffs, your booty shorts, and you're wearing the bra and you got your chest wide out. You can see your side boob and all that. Right. Like that's not modest apparel.
Right.
But you should modest apparel. Go ahead.
With shamefacedness.
With what?
Shamefacedness.
Right, with shamefacedness. Like you should be moving and behaving and dressing yourself as if you don't want to be looked at as a whore. I don't want to be looked as a whore. No, that's shamefacedness. Like I'll be like I'm being humble and modest and shamefaced, like not wanting to be dressed like a whore, be seen as a whore, or because of the way you talk and because of the way you behave yourself and the way you dress. Like you have to be shamefaced, and that's one of the key things that it takes, because you can want to not be treated like a whore, but if you're not dressing modest apparel or behaving modestly, then you're going to be treated that way. And it's kind of like psychologically confusing because they don't want it, but they don't do things to promote not being that way. You want to say something?
I did actually, but it's in that book right there.
Which one?
Can I grab it real quick?
You talking about this one here?
The one under it.
The American Indians?
Sir. This is the perfect precept because it reminds me of a passage from this book right here.
Is it a scripture?
This
is a passage.
It's explaining something very
so
important.
it wouldn't be a precept, it just would be a heavy point. It'd just be like a heavy point.
Like it goes right with this. Actually, I remember I put this precept with this point right here, and it was particularly talking about the Native American women. It says,
go ahead, bring it out. This is Trooper Yalawan. Yalawan is well versed in these books and bringing out historical records, from different scholarships. So, it's a pleasure to have this brother out here in San Antonio and in UPK. He always got some information to bring out pertaining to what we bringing out in these scriptures. So, for you sisters, again, that you listen and we talk about modest apparel and being modest and being decent, not only in your apparel, but in your behavior and the way you speak. Like we read about like I said, in Proverbs, when it says, she shall do him good and not evil all of his life. Like that has to do with your behavior. It has to do with how you conduct yourself and your will. Like if your will is to please the Lord, then your will is to please your husband. You know what I mean? And that's just it. And you're going to follow these things that's in this Bible. All right. Y'all want to go, just let them know what book you read from and what page, and go ahead and read.
This right here is the book called View of the American Indians, showing them to be descendant of the 10 tribes of Israel. It's a very important point that Officer Dawada is bringing out about the modesty and the virtuousness in our women, because what we got to understand is that when we go into our history, we were successful in presenting our women to be this way. They were not always like these, what do you call them, divas that you see on social media. If you actually look at the records and what our oppressors recorded when they studied our people, and especially the 10 tribes that were on this side of the globe during the first encounters, it'll tell you right here bits of information. I want to go straight to the point, but also, if possible, maybe even cover some of these other parts that I feel like are really, really interesting to bring up.
Yeah, we could definitely get to them. We could definitely get to them.
It says right here, it says, the ordinary character of the young women. Oh, Salakia, I'm on page 42 of this book right here.
Is it 10 tribes of Israel?
Yeah, it's talking about the Native American and indigenous population and how we were the actual Hebrews in the scriptures. Check this out. It says, the ordinary character of the young women, their first intercourses with Europeans was that they were modest.
They were what?
They were modest.
They were what?
They were modest.
All right, so hold on, right? Why he bringing that out? Like we talking about, you know, this ain't ancient history. You understand? This ancient history. We're talking about a few hundred years ago here in America, right? Like let's read it from the top.
It says the ordinary character of the young women in their first intercourses with Europeans was that they were modest in their deportment and strictly virtuous.
So they were modest in their.
Come on, what? Man. It says they were modest in their deportment and strictly virtuous.
Right. So what did we just read just now?
We just read 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 9. It says, in like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
Right. So in modest apparel, and then what we read before that was what? Who can find a virtuous woman?
Yeah.
So now we reading right here about how our Native Indian sisters that, you know, in a time when we came across the Europeans here in America, that they not only dressed modestly, not only were they modest, but they were virtuous as well. Go ahead and read.
There's even more. It says, both young and old were highly offended at any indecent actions or even expressions.
See that? That's sisterhood.
That's shamefacedness.
That's shamefacedness. Yeah. That's sisterhood and shamefacedness, because not only did our sisters not want their other sisters to be looked at like whores, but I mean, not only did sisters not want to be looked at as whores, but they didn't want their own sisters to look like whores as well.
Yeah.
Like that's sisterhood, shamefacedness and sisterhood, because this is what it's all about. We're going to get into a couple other scriptures that talks about that, the older woman and the younger woman, like how they supposed to work together and teach each other to keep each other lined up with what we bringing out in these scriptures. But we read it right now before a year, like I said, before a European indoctrination, these women was virtuous and they were modest and they were sisterly to one another. That's amazing. That's amazing right there. Read it from the top one more time. Huh?
Okay. It says the ordinary character of the young women in their first intercourses with Europeans was that they were modest in their deportment and strictly virtuous. Deportment. Should I look that up?
Yeah, look that up. Look that up. But what we bringing out right now? So again, like all of the things that we're bringing out are going to seem very foreign, you know, especially when we talk about how a woman is supposed to be. And the only reason it's foreign is because we're teaching you the culture of Black people, which of course has been stolen from us 400 some plus years ago.
Right.
It's been completely taken off the table. So the only culture we know is European culture, right? You know, all African culture, Chinese culture, all these different cultures. And that's the culture that we live in today when women are dressing the way they're dressing, behaving the way they're behaving, so on and so forth. But before, like we said, the indoctrination of European, you know, ideology and religion and all of the, American philosophy and everything else, these women knew how to be. Our sisters knew how to be. And this is how they were, what we reading in the Bible. They were virtuous, they were modest, they were shamefaced, and they were helping out one another. The older women were helping out the younger women. The younger women helped out the older women. They helped out each other. That's what feminism should be.
Right.
You understand? That's how feminism should be, keeping women in order instead of trying to fight for so much liberty to be free to do whatever you want to do. No, you should be fighting and learning and teaching each other how to be according to the law of God, according to the instruction of the Most High. Go ahead and what you got for that definition?
We got deportment, a person's behavior or manners.
There it is. Like I said, like we just read, like that scripture in Timothy one more time.
All right, we got 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9. In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness and sobriety.
Right. With shamefacedness and sobriety. Right. So dress yourself in modest apparel and be shamefaced. So again, it goes down to how you dress and your behavior. And that's what we read in this book right here. Go ahead and read it one more time in the book.
So check this out. There's even more to lock it.
Let's
Check this out. It says,
start from the top again,
This again,
so we can break it down.
This is a view of the American Indians,
Mhm.
showing them to be descendants of 10 tribes, no 12 tribes, but 10 of those tribes of Israel that were on this side of the globe already.
Right.
So in chapter, in page 42, it says right here, when it's talking about the Native American women, the young woman, it says, the ordinary character of the young woman. And their
ordinary character.
Right.
Meaning this was not something rare. This was how it was.
Right.
This is how it's supposed to be. This was ordinary. Go ahead.
The ordinary character of the young women and their first courses with Europeans.
Right. Their first interactions with the Europeans, like them meeting the Europeans and you know, like it says, becoming, you know, getting involved with them, or, you know, meeting them, and you know what I'm saying, like them meeting, right, their first interactions, right, that's a better word, go ahead.
Was that they were modest in their deportment.
They were modest. They're modest in their deportment, which we just found deportment is their behavior. So they were modest in their behavior. They wasn't like snapping their fingers and rolling their neck and you know being loud and complaining and yelling and you know and fighting and screaming and gnashing at the teeth. Right. Like they were modest in their deportment or their behavior. Go ahead.
And strictly virtuous.
And strictly virtuous. And what did we bring out when we was getting to the virtuous woman? A virtuous woman is a woman with abilities.
Right.
So they were strictly virtuous, meaning they were very able. They practiced to have many abilities. They were doing so many things. They were cooking, they were cleaning, they were helping establish things and, you know, or keep things in order, you know, doing their part, you know, all of those different things that a woman is more than capable of doing. They were taking advantage of all of those abilities strictly. Go ahead.
It says, both the young and old were highly offended at any indecent actions or even expressions.
That's it. They said that the old and the young women. The old and the young women. Nowadays, you got the old women that's teaching the young women how to be whores. Right, exactly. You understand? Like it's supposed to be, right. You know, if anything, it's supposed to be the opposite of that. They're supposed to be teaching them how to be virtuous, how to be modest in their deportment, right? How to be virtuous. They're supposed to be teaching those things, but you know, they're not. They're teaching them how to be whores. They're telling them that you got to have a man with money, right. You know, pimping them out, whoring their daughters, you know, sleeping with men that are beating their daughters up and filling up their daughters and so on and so forth. And that's why that's a big part of our destruction as a family. So again, we getting our women in order is going to help us to be able to build a stronger family. You know, that's a key component in a family, like in that nuclear black family. So when we read it right now, it says that they were strictly virtuous and that the older women and the young women were offended. They were offended. You understand? Like they were offended. Not just the old woman, not even the young woman that was offended at how other women conducted themselves if it was not virtuous, right? If it was not modest. You understand? Go ahead.
They were neat and clean.
Neat and clean, man. You understand? Most of these women today, you gotta tell them to go take a shower. They sleeping with all kind of men and, you know, not taking showers. You know, they box is smelling. You know what I mean? The hair is falling out, right. and it's all a curse from the Lord, right? From being out of order, right? So but these women were clean. They were well groomed. Yeah, you understand? Behaved well, virtuous, shamefaced, sisterly. Teaching their sisters to take care of themselves and be a certain way. That's a beautiful thing. And we lost that because of the indoctrination of white society. We lost that because of the indoctrination of European society, because of, you know, the Christian church, Christianity, because of, like I said, all of the different, you know, American ideology or philosophies. We've lost that, man. We've lost it. You understand? We bringing up our Native Indian women, and don't get it twisted. Like our Native Indian women that we reading about right here, the Hispanic sisters was not far off. Right. They were it was all the same. Right. This is about the 10 tribes. And the same thing with our sisters in the southern tribes with the Judah and the Levites. Right. They were the same, because we're not talking about something that's tribal. We're talking about something that's cultural. right? And we blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are one culture of people, one nation of people. And this is how we've always conducted ourselves until our interactions with Europeans, until our interactions with Christianity. Go ahead.
If I could select it gets even better because in the same scripture that you just read, right after it says being modest, right after it says, wearing modest apparel and having shamefacedness, it also says sobriety. And right here,
go ahead
what
and
I'm
read
about to read it, and it says, but there are two vices before which female modesty prostrates itself and is abandoned.
Right. So there's two things that causes women to abandon all of these great things. Go ahead and read.
Drinking.
What?
Drinking.
Drinking, right? Because you see every day anytime you talk about a hot girl summer, and let me how Megan Stallion said, let me drive the boat.
Right.
Let me drive the boat. What are they doing? Pouring liquor in another woman's mouth.
Wow.
You understand? Getting drunk, popping bottles to rock, Don Julio, shots after shots and shots. I'm talking about, like, I can't even explain how unsafe or how unaware I see women when we out and about in the streets, when we go to different bars or clubs and they're drunk out of their mind, falling on the ground, throwing up, and they got to have a man. Now it's some random man scooping them up over his shoulder.
Yeah.
And us being a priest, we know this is our sisters, so we got to go find out, like, is this sister, this sister? Because this can be easily the man that's going to take her somewhere that she doesn't even know and rape her.
Wow.
And she goes and sleeps with, gets pregnant or gets some type of venereal disease, and then wakes up to commit abortion, or wake up to go back to a husband, and so on and so forth. So that alcoholism is a big part of a woman abandoning all of her natural abilities and her natural order. Go ahead.
Drinking and gaming.
Do what?
Gaming.
Go ahead and read that again.
It says drinking and gaming.
Okay. Go ahead and read it. Keep reading.
The former of the in the bane of the Indian or Native American women, as it has been the deadly plague of the Indian men.
Okay. So when it says gaming, I'm not sure if it's talking about sport. Like, if we talk about sport, like how things are not being taken seriously, it's a joke. Which I would say, I'm gonna let you pull up. But if I had to liken it unto that, I would say that that's absolutely true. You know what I mean? Like, a woman today would look at it as a joke to be submissive to her man. A woman today would look at it as a joke to deal with a man that doesn't have a job. They would look at it as a joke to deal with anything. What you got?
Ooh, this is heavy.
Go ahead and read.
Gaming means to be manipulative, typically in a way that is unfair or unscrupulous.
Okay, that's definitely very common as well.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Being very manipulative. Where you at? Manipulate typically in a what?
In a way that is unfair.
Right.
Or unscrupulous.
Right. So unfair. So what we reading right now out of this book, the 10 tribes. What is it called again?
This right here is again called View of the American Indians.
View of the American Indians, 10 tribes of Israel. And we reading about our Gadite sisters or our Reubenites, our Native Indian sisters, right? And how they were, and how they held each other to what standard they held each other to. Right. So when we read it, when we got into depth with it, it tells about all of these good things that they were doing that our women should be doing today. But it says that there's two things that count that gets them has them abandon those qualities and abandon those abilities, and it's getting drunk and being manipulative.
That's right.
Right. So go ahead and like read that. Matter of fact, read that part again about the drinking and gaming.
So it says right here, but there are two vices before which female modesty prostrates itself and is abandoned. Drinking and gaming. The former of these has been the bane of the Indian women, as it has been the deadly plague of the Indian men. Right.
That's it right there. You understand? So like I said, like, these things are what is affecting our entire nation as a whole. I mean, not just our women, but our men as well. So we have to deviate from all of that. Like a lot of those stories when it talks about our Native Indian brothers and sisters, that's what happened. They was selling drinks, and what was it, rum or what was it? It was selling them alcohol. The Europeans was selling them alcohol for all of their their creations, their tools or their utensils or things that they had that were of value. They were trading it in for alcohol, and they were getting drunk out of their mind.
Right.
And guess what? All of that all that virtuousness, all of that shamefacedness, all of that modesty, everything went out the window. And now you see the results of it all is that our brothers and sisters who are the native Indians are on reservations. Right. No different than Negroes or Jamaicans or Haitians and these different islands and in the Americas are in captivity as well. You know, we're drunk out of our mind. We get drunk every day, and they even more drunk on those reservations. So that alcohol has been something that has been a tool that has used that they use to be able to keep us abandoning our responsibilities,
right,
abandoning our order, abandoning our abilities and things like that, like our responsibilities of who how we're supposed to be as men and women. So that was a good passage right there. You just brought out. It was any more on that? Go ahead and read it. Let's finish it off.
This right here is on page 41.
Mm-hmm.
It says, and again, we're reading about the Native American tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it says right here, the women are expected to take upon themselves all the household work.
Mm-hmm.
The men reserving themselves for war or for the chase, like hunting.
That's right.
The women are treated with respect so long as they conduct themselves with propriety.
Mm-hmm. So that's it. So when you read that from the top again, like it says, like there it's showing you that there's roles in the household, like we just read in the scripture.
Right.
Like there's roles. Like a man is the head. He's the head for a reason.
Yeah.
He's the head of the house for a reason. Mm-hmm. Right. The Lord established that for a reason. You understand? And just because he's the head of the house doesn't mean like we just read right now that a woman can't be treated with respect. That she can't be, have these different abilities and do bring great things to the table. Right. So we've lost that because of all of the, like I said, the mixing up of our education. Right. We've lost that. So read it one more time from the top.
It says, the women are expected to take upon themselves all the household work, the men reserving themselves for war or for the chase. The women are treated with respect so long as they conduct themselves with propriety.
Right. Propriety is just like moral behavior, right? Like they're behaving themselves morally. So again, when we brought out just now about a virtuous woman, right, and how what the qualities are of a virtuous woman, we telling you like these are the things that allow women to be treated with respect. For you to have that respect that you want to have, for you to be able to have that man that you want, to be able to be treated like you want to be treated.
Right.
You understand? Behaving morally. And because our people were in order and had this knowledge and had that propriety, right?
Right.
That in that time, we were able to have men that played a role, have women that played a role, and we all held each other accountable.
That's right.
The sisters held each other accountable. The men held the women accountable. And I'm sure the women held the men accountable.
That's right.
To do their job, right? Everybody's doing their job, and we all under a specific order, and it made our nation beautiful. It gave us respect. It gave us glow, so much so that there's stories in the Bible where women and their beauty and their modesty was enough to make other nations of people respect our entire nation.
That's right.
You understand? So again, like we have to get back to this, and it's only because of our like it just brought out our interaction with European society and their ideology and their religions and their government that we've lost all of these things, and now it's become hell trying to deal with a woman, or hell trying to deal with have a family and maintain a family.
Right.
All right. Go ahead and continue to read.
It gets crazy at this point, like even more exact. It says, and the greatest decorum, which I looked up the word, it says behavior in keeping with good taste, propriety, or etiquette.
Right. That's right.
It says the greatest decorum is observed on all occasions towards them. Even to female prisoners, no violence is ever offered.
Right.
Not the least indecency, for their persons are sacred.
Right. So again, like we even in consequential, like even when it comes to discipline and consequences, there was decency because we valued ourselves. Right. Like you think we're gonna discipline a woman for not being not being in order or being indecent, not being decent,
Right.
but then beat her down. No, the only reason we're disciplining a woman or checking her for being, indecent is because we value her.
That's right.
Because we have values for you. We value who you are. We know what your worth is.
Yeah.
So we're not going to, beat you down or talk trash about, treat you like trash.
Mhm.
Even in your ignorance, you're still valued and you're still treated with respect.
Right.
Right. So you have to understand, like, we have to go back to those ways of dealing with each other and understand when a brother tells your sister that this is how you should behave, or this is how you should treat your man, or this is how you should be as a wife, that you should respect those things, even if it comes with a check-in.
That's right.
You understand? Because it's only because their value towards you. It's only because them understanding of your true worth. Okay, go ahead. Is any more on that?
Concert is a little bit more. It says, but we are told on the authority of a Spanish priest
Mhm.
that if a woman is caught in the act of adultery,
Mhm.
she is stoned to death before an assembly of people after the manner of the ancient Jews.
Right. So again, they said that the ancient Jews, which is in the Old Testament, right? And it says adultery, you shall be punishable by death. Like the adulterer and the adulteress shall be put to death, right? So we understand that. But these are our native Indian brothers and sisters right here that we're talking about. And they're practicing the ancient customs of our ancestors.
Right.
The Hebrew Israelites, the Jews, Judah, Issachar, Gad, Reuben, Simeon, so on and so forth, where we were taught from the Bible, right?
Right.
So these people, and before, like I said, European influence, were able to align themselves with the same thing that we're teaching you today,
Right.
which is that Bible.
Mm-hmm.
The order of the household,
right.
how a woman should conduct herself, the order of a man, how a man should conduct himself, so on and so forth. They're aligning themselves with these same things, and it was such a beautiful thing, and it's something that we need to get back to. It's something that we need to get back to, because our black men and women, our Hispanic men and women, and our native Indian women who are so valuable and so worthy, you understand, and we're so respectable. We need to be able to come back to our true light.
That's right.
To our true worth. Mm-hmm. All right. And it's going to happen we have to shed ourselves of European culture.
Right.
We have to shed ourselves of European philosophy and religion. All of the things that we were taught in America, all the things we taught now in these religions, we have to shed ourselves of it. Okay. Because before that, we had families that lasted forever. I'm talking about generations would grow up in the same household.
That's right.
Not just one generation where you have a man and a woman and the children, right? Mm-hmm. Which today is almost impossible to keep together.
Right.
You know what I mean? Through the wisdom of the Lord and I.S.U.P.K, we keep nuclear families together. But we're talking about a system and an order and a wisdom that will not only keep families together, but you'll see a mother and a father have kids and raise those kids together. To those kids have kids, and they all raise those grandkids together, so on and so forth. We don't even have that no more.
Right.
You're like, who can really send their kids to their grandmother or their granddad, right? Either their grandparents are gone, yeah. You know what I mean, untimely. Right, because we're not living the life expectancy we should be living, or either the mom and the dad is separate, and now the families are torn apart.
Right.
So we don't even get to see those generations, because there's so much things that the grandmothers and the great grandmothers and grandfathers can teach these great grandchildren that's being disconnected, man. Mm-hmm. And that's a part of the device, or the what's the word I'm looking for? That's a part of the council that was taken that to keep us from teaching each other, passing down those things, right? So go ahead and continue to read.
Such heavy, it goes so in depth. Like, if I could, it's just it's crazy, because like this is the I.S.U.P.K. We put these facts back together so we can piece together our culture again, and it gives us the inspiration, the knowledge, and the understanding to come back to what we were doing before we were influenced by other nations.
That's right.
And it's crazy because that just goes to show that we had integrity even on this side of the globe, and they themselves, our enemies, even wrote books that are telling us that we were like this. So what more do we need to understand that this is what we got to come back to?
That's right.
Now, Salakia, did you want me to start?
Nah, just matter of fact, let's get back to the scriptures again.
Come,
Because you brought a lot of heavy stuff in that book, and everything is in these scriptures. Give me 1 Timothy 2 and 9. That's what we at, right? Go ahead and continue.
1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 9. In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with braided hair or gold or pearls or costly array. Verse 10. But
right, so like again, like those are the things that don't make you beautiful. That's not what makes you beautiful.
Right.
Because your hair is braided, because you have on jewelry and they costly, you know, those costly array, like all of the fine clothes you put on. Right. That's not what makes you beautiful. Just like a man, just like money and all of the gold and all that stuff is not what makes a man valuable. You know, that's not what makes a man valuable. The amount of money he has, or his credit score, the job, or, you know, how much, you know, none of those things would make a man valuable, just like none of those things that we read just now are what makes a woman valuable. It's your modesty. It's your shamefacedness. It's your abilities. That's what makes you worthy. That's what makes you valuable. Your abilities as a woman. You understand? Your beauty, your natural beauty, your shamefacedness, your modesty, your behavior. All of those things are in line, and you are talking about something like the scripture says that is far above rubies, right. What the scriptures calls virtuous. Go ahead and read.
Verse 10. But which becometh women professing godliness with good works. Verse
okay,
11.
Drop that. Matter of fact, let's get down to Titus 2 and 1. Let's get a Titus 2 and 1. So we, like I said, so we're not reading anything that's just like something we're trying to implement now. You're not just trying to implement something that's, you know, we just pulled out of the closet somewhere. Like we're pulling out ancient history of how our ancestors conducted themselves. Right. Not just ancient history, but even recent history. Like when we just brought out about the Native Indians. The Native Indians, their women were very virtuous. Strictly virtuous, like it says. Yep. And they were offended. Those women were offended if any of their sisters were acting out of order, right, or were dressing unmodestly, or were not being virtuous. They were offended. Yep. You understand? So this is recent history. This is if we start to leave all of this stuff that we're learning in America alone in these churches, then we start holding on to this and applying this to our lives, we'll start to see a level of heavenly relationships and heavenly state of being that cannot be matched. Like it's just exactly what the Lord wanted for us. Okay, go ahead and read what you got.
What was the verse again?
Titus, I think it was 2 and 1.
This is Titus chapter 2 verse 1. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine.
Right. So when we think about, okay, can a woman teach? Can a woman teach this? Can if the man is the head, then what is the woman? What is the role of a woman? So let's find out. What does it say from the top again?
It says, but speak thou the things which become sound doctrine.
Like teach the things that become sound doctrine. Like when we teach these things in the U.P.K about how a woman should be, that's what you should be teaching. That's sound doctrine. We're reading you right now the order of a woman. The order of a woman, the natural ability of a woman, virtuousness, right, like behavior, shamefacedness, being all of those, tapping into all of these your abilities. Right. That's what you should be teaching. You should be teaching that. Go ahead and read.
Verse 2. Let the aged men be sober,
right,
grave, temperate,
right,
sound in faith, in charity.
That's right. These are the things that a man should be. Right. These are the things that a man should be that's under Christ. Right. When all of men should be like this way, but it takes you to be under Christ for you to get it and to be able to apply it. Right. Go ahead and read.
Patience. Verse 3. The aged women likewise.
Right. The aged women likewise. So what can a woman teach? What is the sound doctrine of a woman that she's able to teach? Go ahead and read.
That they be in behavior as becometh holiness.
Right. They be in behavior, right? Like we said, propriety, right? As what? As behaving what?
as becoming holiness.
Right, behaving holiness or separate.
Yeah.
Being separate. You know what I mean? Like you think about how white women dress,
Right.
how they act. Like you think about how African women dress and how they act. You think about how Chinese women dress, how they act, and so on and so forth. Like you have to act different than them.
That's right.
You have to be different from them. You have to be separate from them.
Come.
You understand? And the Lord gave you instructions on what He created you to be and how He created you to be, and that's what makes you separate. And it's so beautiful. Go ahead and read it again. Read. Continue to read.
It says, not false accusers.
Right, not false accusers. Like a lot of women are good for that. You know, they feel a certain type of way and they just putting blame on everybody. And really, it's them that should be accountable for their actions, or some whatever is probably going on, or they're probably just misinformed and just in their feelings. Right. So they just become false accusers and they blaming this person. Like again, like you think about all of the black men that are on child support. Like it ain't because they bad dads.
Right.
It ain't because that. It's because she's a false accuser.
That's right.
She's accused him of being a deadbeat, all because she doesn't want to listen to him, or she doesn't want to be in order under him. You understand? So she falsely accuses him. That's not how our women should be. You should not be in your feelings. You should make haste when you're in your feelings. Take a breather and sit down and relax. Get counsel, right? And then make a decision on what you should do, or be most importantly. You understand? But don't be false accusers. Yeah?
Not giving too much wine.
Right. Not being too much wine. We just read now a woman that drinks too much is always going to abandon her abilities.
Right.
She's always going to abandon her modesty. Or her good behavior. She's going to start behaving bad.
That's right.
You know what they say, I'm on my worst behavior. Like that's what they are. That's what they become. They on their worst behavior, because that's what drinking, a woman that drinks too much becomes misbehaved, right? Unvirtuous, unmodest, all of those things. So not drinking too much. You know what I mean? You got to sometimes back away from that drink. Sometimes only have a little bit of drink. Right. We're not supposed to, just like a man should be sober, a woman should be sober. Anytime you drink too much where you can't make a wise decision, or you can't respect yourself or respect others, then you don't need to be that drunk. Right. You shouldn't have drank that much. You don't need to drink that much anymore, because you should not be abandoning. You should not be abandoning your responsibility as a virtuous woman, or as a modest woman, or behaving yourself modestly. Go ahead and read.
It says, teachers of good things.
Right, teachers of good things. Like it's good to teach your daughter to find a man who is what, like we just read about just now, sober minded. Read it from the top again.
It says sober, grave,
right,
temperate, sound in faith, in charity, and patient.
Right, finding, like, teach those things about what a woman should be looking for in a man. Teach her that. This is what you should look for in a man. You know what I mean? The man of God that has all of these attributes, that's going to serve the Lord and bring you in under the law of Moses, marry you under the law of Moses, and under the laws of marriage in the Bible. Don't teach her that you got to find a man with money. You're prostituting your daughter. You're prostituting your sisters when you do that. You teach them to marry a man with money. To find a man with money, you're prostituting your daughters, because not only are they going to find a man with money, because it ain't like niggas don't got money. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
they out there.
I can name a few nuthead niggas, a few nutcase niggas that got plenty of money, and they will beat your daughter up. They will give your daughter AIDS.
Damn.
They will beat her up, give her AIDS, talk trash to her, talk dirty to like a piece of garbage, treat her like a piece of garbage, all for what? That would not have patience with her, right? That would get drunk and treat her bad. Right, all of those things that it says right there when it talks about he'll be none of those things, and because he's none of those things, he'll be a terrible husband for your daughter. So when it talks about teaching your daughters, teach older women, teaching the younger women, teach them these things. Right, go ahead and read.
Says the aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becoming holiness, not false accusers, not giving too much wine.
That's right.
Teachers of good things.
Right. Teachers of good things. You understand? Good things. A woman should only have one man. Now, you should not give your box up to no man
Right.
until you're ready to be, till you know that this is the man that I want to be with for the rest of my life.
Right.
But in order for her to be able to make that decision, you have to make a good decision on. You have to give her, teach her the good things, like also the other good things. Like, don't go after this type of man.
Right.
Don't value a man because of this. Value a man because of that. Don't look, all of those things. How to be a wife, to even be able to be worthy of a good man.
Right.
Teach her good things. Go ahead.
Verse 4, that they may teach the young women to be sober,
Mm-hmm.
to love their husbands,
To what?
love their husbands,
To fight their husbands,
to love their husbands,
to throw their husbands away,
to love their husbands,
to kick them out the house,
to love their husbands,
to love their husbands, man. You know what love is? Love is long suffering. That's what it is, long suffering. Holding each other accountable to these laws, statutes, and commandments. That's what love is. So when you think about love, when it says love their husband, that means what? Obeying their husbands.
right?
You have to teach her to obey him. If you don't want her obeying any man, if you got a problem with your daughter or yourself obeying a man, then won't you make sure that you end up or she ends up with a man that's worth obeying?
Right.
Am I right or am I wrong?
No, that's right.
Like, it ain't a problem with obeying a man. It's a problem with how you choosing a man to obey.
Right.
Like, if you choosing a man with money and you obeying this man with money, he'll have you putting crack in your derriere and you'll be off the jail doing a bid for him.
Damn.
And then what are you doing in jail while he out here free still selling drugs? All because he got money or because he pimping you out. And it's all about money for him. It's all about money for you. And that's not love. That's not love. So again, teaching your daughters to or the young women to obey, you understand, obey their husband, or to choose a husband the right way, or to keep their legs closed until they find the right man and what the right man is according to the Bible. Those are all good things to teach your daughter.
Right.
Those are all good things. And that's something that we're missing today. It's the complete opposite, right? Go ahead and read. Any more on that?
Just a couple more.
Go ahead.
Love their children.
And to love their children. Like so many women, that throw away their husbands, right? What they should not do. They should love their husbands, right?
Right.
So many of them that throw them away end up single moms, and then they have to take the burden of taking care of all of these kids by themselves.
Right.
Taking care of these kids by themselves, which ultimately means what? A burden on them, stress.
Right.
And then it gets to the point where they just want to throw the kids away and abandon the kids, or fight the kids and argue with their daughters and fight their daughters, or beat their daughters too hard and
right.
Hurt them and things like that. So, and it takes away the love that they can have for a kid when you distribute that responsibility with your husband or the father of those kids. Or maybe even at this point, a man that wants to be able to help you and help those kids that are not his. Like having that partnership is how you're going to be able to take that load together, to be able to maintain a peace of mind to where you can be able to be truly loving to your husband, truly loving to your kids. All right, go ahead and read.
It says to be discreet, chaste.
Be discreet, right? Like you can't be all over the place. You the loudest one in the room. You want to have the most, revealing outfit in the club. You want to be, you want to stand out. You don't want to just be twerking all in the middle of the club. You got to stand up on the bar and twerk and get it. You just far from discreet to the point that you are, bringing all of this unnecessary attention to yourself.
Right.
And it's not good attention because you're not modest. You're not modest. You're not virtuous because you're behaving like a whore. And now you're getting all of this unnecessary attention, and it's bad attention because now all of these men are looking at you. They're probably going to follow you. They're probably going to smack you on your behind. They're probably going to put their hands on you, and they don't even know you, right? Because they feel like they can do that.
Right.
And that's what you don't want. You want to be discreet. Go ahead.
Keepers at home.
Right? Keepers at home. Like, like a lot of women get to the certain point where they feel like they find the value of being a homebody.
Right.
You understand? Like they find a value. Like I'm a homebody. That's like the new flex now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the new flex. Like I'm not in the streets and in the clubs and I'm a homebody. And that's attractive. That's attractive to a man. Like, damn, she's a homebody. Damn, like she just be at home, huh? Taking care of the fort, laid up.
Right.
Them legs is closed. That box is just marinating. You know what I mean? Just sitting there marinating, and she ain't doing nothing but just all clean. She ain't been walk out and about in the street, so she ain't them all of the elements on her. She just at home in the bed and the covers is clean, the sheets is clean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything is the house is clean, she preserved, discreet, and she a homebody, and that's attractive.
Yeah.
That's the new flex. But a lot of women don't get to that stage until they fucked 1,000 men. Excuse my language. You know what I mean? A lot of women don't get to that stage until they done been whored out a bunch of times. Till they done caught a disease, till they've been raped or molested, or till they've been disrespected and had a traumatizing event.
Right.
Then they want to go and try to be a homebody out of fear.
Right.
Out of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
But come on, we all of these things that we teaching you right now, what we reading, is to help you to avoid that trauma.
Right.
Help you to avoid that destruction.
Damn right.
Avoid those things. Mm-hmm. It's all for love to help you to avoid those things. Be a homebody now. Be a homebody. Like when we just read in that book about the American Indians, like it said that the women were doing what at home, cleaning and cooking, taking care of the house, while the man was preparing him, staying prepared for war. Right. Out and about, hunting in the fields, in the out doing whatever you got to do, right. Working out, staying strong, doing whatever you got to do, staying in shape, and that's the order. So her being a homebody is natural. It's the way it's supposed to be. Don't go out in the streets and run those streets and act wild and then decide to be a homebody once you're 45. Right. Once you're 46. And now you got, you're 47 and you got all of these issues, or you 22 and you go out and you get raped, you drunk and you get carried home by a stranger, and to never see your family ever again. Like these things are very serious, Akin wa Akwakin. Like these things are very serious to understand and to learn and to apply to our lives as soon as possible, immediately, like yesterday. All right, read.
It says, "Good, obedient to their own husbands."
Obedient to their own husbands, right? Obedient to their own husbands. Like you should be able to lean on your husband. You should be able to talk to your husband, confide in him. You understand? Don't be trying to find the nigga Tyrone at work, Jerome, the next nigga down the street. No, you know what I mean? Because because you and your husband have gotten into a fight, and then now you want to go talk to another nigga because we already know what that leads to. Right. You know what I mean? We already know what that leads to. That's why the scriptures say go to he and he alone. Mm-hmm. You understand? That doesn't just apply to brothers, applies to sisters. That applies to marriages. Your spouse is your brother or your sister in Christ, right? So you're supposed to apply all of those laws and those instructions to your marriage. He and he alone. That's how you avoid fornication. That's how you avoid adultery. That's how you avoid all of those things. And you can be able to not only avoid those things, but you are able to hear your husband or hear your wife and work things out and to be able to let brotherly love continue to gain a brother or gain a sister or your husband or your wife in this sense, right? So that's what you're supposed to do. Read it again.
It says to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home.
Go sit down.
Good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of Yahweh be not blasphemed.
Right, that the word of Yahweh be not blasphemed. Like all of what we do in the name of Christ, and we say we love God, and with the way we move, that's not the love of God. That's not the love of God. That's why when it comes down to when they say when the Christ come back, they gonna say, he gonna say, our Lord did not do this in your name, or I did not do this. He gonna say, I did not know you. Depart from me. Right. Depart from me. I do not know you, because everybody's saying they love God. Everybody's saying that Christ is the head of their life. Everybody's saying that they are saved and sanctified. Yeah. Everybody's saying that. But who really is though? When you following what we just read just now, that's who really is. That's right. Those that are following the teachings that we're bringing out here in the I.S.U.P.K since 1969, following those teachings. That is who is bringing honor to the Most High. Anything else outside of that, you're blaspheming the Lord. That's what you're doing. Okay. So if you're not obeying your husband, if you're not going to him, if you're not being modest and virtuous and applying your abilities and behaving yourself accordingly and being at homebody of yourself and being discreet, then you're blaspheming the Lord. Period. If you out in the clubs and you getting drunk out of your mind till you can't even be in control of your behavior no more, you're completely blaspheming the Lord, man. Any more on that?
Wow.
Drop that. You got something you want to add?
I was just gonna say, you know what, that really that it's a good way to check myself too, because like when we go out to say we going and doing some brotherhood, whether it be at a bar, whether it be at some kind of a social gathering and that sort of thing, and that's what we see out there, and we also have to fight that battle that we've also been brainwashed into wanting a certain type of women because we see the way sisters look, and we're like, man, she's gonna be a lot of work, but and she to clean up, but I still like that, you know, like
Right.
it's crazy because it's very rare that you find a woman that's already in that mindset of wanting to be modest.
Right.
Because when you find a woman like that, you already know that's a gem right there.
That's right.
Like she definitely her price is far.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like
There you go.
that's all we really want. But
That's
we
it.
see a lot of this out here, and we, you know, go chasing after the wrong thing.
That's the word right there, chase. Like it's all for the chase.
Yeah.
It's for the chase. It's like, you know, just trying to get something. But the real women that really is already set up and ready to be wives, they at home.
Yeah, that's true.
They at home. That's where they at. They at home. You can find them at work. You can find them at the grocery store sometimes. You know what I mean? You know, we all go to work, we all go to the grocery store, but you're not gonna expect to find a ready-made woman at the club, a ready-made wife, you know, in the streets, you know, you know, on the corner and at the bodegas, just hanging out with the rest of the niggas on the corner and stuff like that. Like, you know, that's not what she at. She at home. She at home that you never see her. You never see her in the streets. Like that be, you know, yeah, everybody have that one girl that them girls that they know that they don't never see. You're like, man, like where she come from? Cause she not out all the time. She not all over the place all the time. She always in the house. You rarely see her. That's a wife. You understand? That's modesty. Go ahead and drop that. Let me get them apocrypha. Ecclesiasticus, chapter 36, verse 24. Ecclesiasticus 36 and 24. Like that's a virtuous woman. That's a modest woman. You know, she in the house, she taking care of her kids, or if she don't got no kids, she just taking care of the house. You know what I mean? Taking care of herself, keeping herself clean, keeping herself valuable, preserved for that man, for her man. And that's beautiful, man. I'm telling you, those are the attractive women. So that's why I said that's the flex nowadays.
Yep.
That, hey, like, you know, they be on social media. I'm a homebody in their bio. I'm a homebody. You know, that they know that that's what men want to hear because they know that that's what a wifey is. But they didn't come to that conclusion till after being out in the streets and having sex with every man that they give it up to.
Yeah.
And still ending up single at the end of the day and worn out.
Right.
So now they just like, you know what, I'm gonna just sit my ass down. I'm gonna just sit my ass down, slow my ass down. And that's how they become homebodies. But you should have been that from the beginning. Everybody, all these women should be that from the beginning. Be a homebody. Like brothers, like I said, us brothers in the UPK, we righteous, man. We go to the club, you know what I mean? Even the sisters that to some degree, you know, they go out and they might have a drink and they understand, you know, in the school how to behave themselves, how they follow them scriptures, you know what I mean? They follow what we talked about the older women and how a woman should be conducting herself. But at the same time, you know, we ain't out in the street looking for no wife. You know, we ain't out in the street looking for, you know, a woman at the club, twerking at the bar. You know what I mean? Like that's not what we looking for. No, we waiting to get back home to you. Back home to our woman that's at the house.
Right.
You understand? Other than that, the other women that is wifey material, they ain't out. They at home.
Right.
You understand? So you're gonna have to find them in a different setting. A whole totally different setting. So like a woman, like I just said, man, just, you know, apply these things to your life. This is coming from a brother. It's not coming from a husband or a man that just wants to, you know, rule over you or wants to get in your pants. This is like a brother, like you or my sister. Like, be a homebody. Listen to what we're saying. We'll be bringing out. It's going to be beneficial for you. It's going to be profitable for you. It's going to help you to become blessed. You know what I'm saying? All of your doings. Some of you are already created a mess for yourself, and this can help clean that mess up. Some of you, this can help avoid a mess altogether. But this is coming from us as brothers, you know, in Christ, that this is what you should be following. You understand? Now, go ahead and read this next scripture.
This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 36, verse 24. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession.
Beginneth a what?
Beginneth a possession.
Right. Because at the end of the day, because the man is over the woman, he possesses her. Like that's like no, like when a man penetrates a woman, that's a very spiritual and territorial thing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
You're right.
when a man, it's like dominating something.
Mhm.
You know, when you dominate something, it's like you took it over. Like the chase, like we talked about the chase, like that courtship and being with this woman and talking to her and hearing her and being there for her and making her happy and listening to her problems, taking on her burden, taking on her demons,
Right.
taking on her responsibility, becoming your responsibilities.
Right.
And then when you go through all of that and you consummate a marriage to make it official, you have dominated and obtained that woman, and she is a possession to him. That's why it says when a man findeth a wife, he beginneth a possession.
Right.
Read it one more time.
It says, "He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession,
Go ahead.
a help like unto himself,
Mm-hmm.
and a pillar of rest."
A help like unto himself, right? Because now his what should I say? His ventures or his intentions or his goals or things becomes hers.
Right.
You understand? Like she has to like become help. Like it says, the help be a help to him. So she's going to help him to obtain his goals. She's going to do him good. Whether it's going to be able to get some money because he needs a financial boost to get the things that he needs to get done. Maybe he want to open up a school. Maybe he want to start a food drive, or he need to get these flyers printed out. And he don't have the money to get the flyers printed out. You can do whatever it takes, just like he's doing whatever it takes to get it done. You help him.
That's right.
Like unto himself. You helping him to get those things done, to get these things done, to get the household ran, to get the finances in order, to get those personal goals taken care of, get your goals taken care of. It's all what you're going to be doing, and that's why when it says your possession, that's why we bring back to Genesis, and we're gonna get there as well when it says that her desire should be to her husband, right? Because you are becoming his possession. You are to I got these words in my head. I can't bring them out. But you are to magnify. That's a word. You are there to magnify his life, magnify his goals, magnify his direction or wherever he's going. You understand? And a lot of women can be very helpful in the construction of a man, very helpful in the healing of a man, and very helpful in the grounding of a man. Like that's something very, very serious. You know what I mean? Because a lot of men need that. It's and that's why it says created a woman for the man. Go ahead and read what you got from the top.
It says, "He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession,
Mm-hmm.
a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest."
And a pillar of rest. Like I said, she's gonna do him good and not evil. Like doing him good is not going to stress him out. Not stressing him out, not making it all about you, not complaining about every little thing that he do, every little thing that he not doing. Like being there to make his life easier, being there to make his life easier, to push him in a very loving way to get things done. Like women have a power that they can be able to entice a man, you understand, to be able to get anything they want to get done.
Right.
They can get anything they want to get done by simply being nice and being enticing and flirtation and swaying him to do what you want him to do or what he needs to do. Right? A lot of men have their own goals. Like they want to be, rap star. So she'll figure out a way to sexually or lovingly in a womanly way to entice him to make it something more worth fighting for, to get, to do it, to obtain, to be that rapper, or to be that priest, or to be that warrior, or to be like she'll fuel him to do that in a very loving way. And like I said, vice versa. Like women, a lot of women complain about what they got or what they don't got or what they not getting, but complaining is never going to help it get done. Maybe you should figure out a very loving and enticing way to make it happen. You understand? Right. To get what you want. And it's possible. It's very possible. You can easily do it by, using your own beauty, using your own femininity, right? Go ahead and read.
It says, "And a pillar of rest."
A pillar of rest. So, like again, you should never have to complain about stuff and argue and fight and nag, and you shouldn't have to ever do that. Put yourself in the spirit of a helpmeet or a pillar of rest or a virtuous woman who has all of these abilities, that she's doing all of these things that her husband don't have to spoil. He can trust in her. Do things under that, and you'll be surprised how much you'll get, even more than you even expected. Go ahead.
Verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
Hedge is there, the possession is spoiled.
All right, where there no hedge is, the possession is spoiled. Right? Read it again.
It says, where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled.
Right, because not only are you a possession, but these brothers are going to take care of you. Mm-hmm. They're going to protect you. You understand? They're going to represent a masculinity in your life, and best believe that any danger, any trouble, any evil, or whatever it is that's out here, it has to go through them.
Right.
It has to go through them, and that's what being a hedge is. A hedge is like a gate or like a barrier. You understand? Like if you don't have a hedge or a barrier, then guess what? The possession is spoiled. Like what it talks about, the binding a strong man and spoiling his house, spoiling his goods. Like if there's no man in the house, that house can be spoiled. Your wife, the women will be spoiled, the children will be spoiled, which means that they'll be corrupted. They'll be corruptible. Gone, sold to criminal lifestyles, sold to homosexuality, sold to all kind of sin. Like without that hedge, without that man, all kind of danger. So again, like you're not just a possession. It's just like you just, that's what I gotta explain a lot of times. Like when we talk about two things, like being a weaker vessel don't mean being weak. You know what I mean? Nobody's calling a woman weak. She's just a weaker vessel compared to the man and his strength and ability.
Right.
But at the end of the day, she's very strong. A black woman, Hispanic, Native Indian woman is very strong, and they can get a lot of things done. They do. Believe that. Ooh-wee. They get a lot of things done. And on the flip side, possession is not a piece of object.
Right. It's
like,
not degrading. Right?
No, it's not degrading. Because you want to know something? Men have gone far and beyond to risk their lives to make sure that possession is taken care of.
Right.
To make sure that possession is nurtured and cared and happy and stayed and untouched and unscathed. Right? That's how we want our women to be. That's what we want for our sisters, because we value our sisters. We value them. We value our women. So where it says where there's no hedge, the possession is what?
It says the
possession is spoiled. The possession is spoiled. Like sisters, you have to understand the necessity of a man. Like every woman needs a man. Every woman needs a man. And being a possession to him is a very rewarding thing. All right. It's a very rewarding thing, especially when you have a man that's under the order of Christ. You understand? So if you're not single, make sure that he's under the order of Christ before you marry him. Mm-hmm. For women that have men that are under the order of Christ, most high in Christ to you. Congratulations. For women that are with men that is not under the order of Christ, use your beauty, use your femininity and all of that to get him in the truth.
That's right.
Use it to get him in the truth.
That'll be an honorable thing. Right.
That's going to be honorable, because you're going to be not only doing him well, but you're going to be doing yourself well, because you don't have to worry about you can assume great things about him. Right. At this point, when he comes under the order of Christ, you can know what to assume and what not to assume. But right now, you don't know. It can go anyway. You don't know what he's capable of. He's unpredictable. You never know. So use your femininity and your beauty and all of that, your womanly attributes and abilities to entice that brother to come into the truth and get in the order of Christ, and to be the priest that the Lord wants him to be the soldier that the Lord wants him to be. And then in turn, he'll be that man for you. And he'll protect you and not do you wrong. He'll love you like he loved himself. Like the scriptures say, love you like Christ loved the church. Okay. Any more on that?
There's just one more half of the precept.
Good.
He that hath no wife will wander up and down the morning.
Right. You understand? Because again, it's a wife to a man is a very important thing. I'm talking about, I know brothers that lean on their wives. Like they lean on their wives. Like their wives is like machines. And they, got one handling this and the other is handling this. And they wife is the reason why they got this finances and all this stuff. And why they starting businesses and they becoming, they done cleaned up themselves and got, she got him clean and his teeth is getting whiter and you know what I mean? And every other thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what a woman can really provide for her man. Like it can be like that. So we as brothers, we look for that in a woman. We want that and appreciate that. Like, so we'd like just to be a possession that is not a degrading or belittling thing. Right. Like you are a precious thing. Like anything that requires protection is valuable.
That's right.
It's valuable. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, absolutely.
Because if it wasn't, then it'd just be out there. It'd just be out there for anybody to grab it, touch it, do whatever they want to do with it. It's just free and open. But no, you are a possession. You understand? And you are possessed by a man of God or a man who is going to be your hedge, who's going to be there to protect you and put their life on the line for you if it came down to it and teach you good things. It's going to help you to not spoil, help you for your kids to not spoil, so on and so forth. And that's a beautiful thing. So don't get it twisted, sisters. Please don't get it twisted. That's like right. A woman, like I said, like you are the goods. Like you are the goods. Mm-hmm. You are the goods. Like when it talked about in that book we just read, when it said the women and children is at the house and the man is out preparing for war. Yeah, he's warring to protect the goods, to protect the women and the children. That's what he's doing. He going to war all his life. He doing push-ups, sit-ups, fighting, training, Hebrew Academy, everything else to protect you and your children. Because that's how valuable y'all are. Mm-hmm. You understand? And that's it, man. Everything else in the earth don't matter. The money don't matter. It's just a tool that we use. You know what I mean? The job don't matter. It's just a tool that we use. None of it matters. The clothes, it's just something we do to put on to not be indecent. Right? It ain't to establish some kind of, in fashion and, like cares about that. I mean, nobody cares about that. Right? Nobody cares about the money because like we just read in the Bible, that's not what makes us valuable. It's not where the value is at. The value is in you, black woman. You understand? The value is in you, black man. Like we are value. Black woman should value the black man just like a black man should value a black woman. But if we're going to continue to be led astray, then we cannot be mad with the after effects of all of the destruction and affliction and suffering and the messes we cause on ourselves. Right. You cannot be mad. All right. That's what happens when you lean on your own understanding. And I don't know why people think their own understanding is their own understanding. Like all of what you think and know is a collective of what you've gathered from other nations. That's it. Because the Lord said he put before you good and evil. Right. That's it. And the only thing that was good is your culture. That was the only thing that was good. Outside of that, the only thing that exists is the other cultures, of the other nations. That's it. So you're not collecting something. There's nothing new under the sun. You're not collecting some new intelligence or some new education and what they call it, artificial intelligence. And you got this, you're not doing that. All you're doing is regurgitating bits and pieces of different cultures and different ideologies and different religions. That's it. That you put all in your mental to be what you believe, but you put all that away and take what the Lord gave you, and guess what? All of those evil things, all of that bad, the death, the curses will all go away. The suffering will all go away. It'll all go away, right? Right. And all of those, like when you think about criminal domestic violence, rape, molestation, single parent homes and, all of the things that we deal with as men and women, those are a result of not living according to what the Lord told us to live by. Right. So again, don't get it twisted. Go ahead. Any more on that?
That's it.
All right. Drop that. Let me get, let's get Genesis. Genesis 3:16, since we read that last one about a possession, and it's the woman being a possession or a help like unto him, right? This is where it was stated, right? how it should be. Go ahead and read 3 and 16.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
Unto the woman he said,
Mm-hmm.
I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception.
Right. So now the woman is being punished. The woman is being punished. Why is the woman being punished? Because she didn't listen to her man.
Right.
She didn't listen to her man. She didn't listen to what the Lord said to her man, what her man said to her. And instead, she went out and lived a life and came back. And not only did she live it, she convinced him to do the same thing. And they both were punished. Right. But she's punished for not listening to her man. Right. So now, because she's not listening to her man, and she, which of course her man was teaching her what we you right now. Right. To eat of the tree of the the life, right? Mm-hmm. Which is these laws, statutes, and commandments. So Adam was teaching Eve the laws, statutes, and commandments, what to do, and that's it, according to the Bible. That's it. But she went out and learned all these other different cultures, learned all these different ideologies, and against what he said, and he punished for that. And along with that punishment, it said, along with being multiplying our sorrow, and what does it say about the conception?
It says, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception.
Go ahead. Along with all of that and that punishment, go ahead.
In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children.
Right. So you gotta be in pain when you have childbirth, right? We all know women be trying to get that epidural and all that to help alleviate that pain. Go ahead.
It says, and thy desire shall be to thy husband.
Thy desire should be to who?
To thy husband.
So again, this is what the punishment was, and this is what the order was. Like he reminding her and establishing in that order right now.
That's right. That
your desire should be to your husband. And so when we read about what it is, like if you really truly submit to a man, then guess what? You won't have to be punished. You submit to your man, you don't have to be punished. You don't have to suffer. That's simply by just following your man and putting it, like I said, and if your man is not under the order of Christ, you should surely, if you are wise, entice him and intrigue him, or whatever it is, sway him to come under the order of the Lord in the I.S.U.P.K.
That's right.
You should do that if you know what's best for you, because you have to obey this man. You don't have to do anything evil he tells you to do, but then again, not doing what he tells you to do, being an evil man, could cause him to put his hands on you. You understand? Or any other evil parts of his lifestyle that can directly affect your life and your health. So listen, obey your husbands. Teach these daughters the way that you should have learned, the way that you didn't take, so they can avoid all of the bull that you had to go through. You understand? So they're gonna avoid all of the bull that all of these other women have to go through.
Right.
They can teach them these things, right? So they can do it right the first time. And that's why we encourage and we give praise to these women and these sisters that come into the I.S.U.P.K.
Right.
Because it's such a blessing for them to learn these things, whether it's later in their life or those women that are in the beginning of their lives. Like this is something that's truly going to be life changing for them. Go ahead and read what you got.
From the
top. Read it from the top.
We have verse.
Wait.
Okay, we're verse 16. Genesis chapter 3, verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception.
That's right.
In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children.
Mm-hmm.
And thy desire shall be to thy husband,
and
he shall rule over thee. Right.
He shall rule over thee. Now let me get this right quick. Matter of fact, let's just give me Ephesians 5 and 22. All right. Y'all been taking the attendance?
Yeah.
No sweat. We can wait till the end of class. Just making sure y'all been taking it. Y'all know Ephesians.
Oh,
Ephesians 5 and 22.
Got it right here.
Go ahead.
Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands.
Right. So hold up right there. So again, what we be teaching, a lot of people think we're manipulating the Bible to try to, benefit something that we're trying to do. We teach you everything about the Bible. You know what I mean? Like all of what we're teaching is the Bible, right? So it ain't just about it being true that the Lord requires a woman to submit to her husband,
Right.
but a Lord requires a man to be sober minded, to be patient, to love his wife like himself, and so on and so forth. So we don't we applying the whole entire Bible, but like today, this specific topic is about black women. You understand? Like we talking about black women right now. And the thing is that this is not just beneficial for a black man, for a woman to submit to him, because he's able to now run his household accordingly, right?
Right.
In a very good manner, like it could be more fluent and he could protect you better. But it's also good for you as a woman, because like we just brought out, this man is the hedge of your life to keep you from spoiling. This man is the hedge. He's the head of your house. He's the protector. He's the shield. He's the provider of the truth to teach you good things and to teach your children good things
Right.
and to protect you all. So when it says submit yourselves, believe that this is something that's a very valuable, a value that this makes you very valuable, right? And read.
Come says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord.
As unto the Lord.
Wow.
You understand? Like this is the Lord's will. This is the Lord's will. Like a lot of women want to say, like, yeah, we the Bible says this and we got to listen to, what I'm trying to be closer to God and do what the Lord tells me to do.
Right.
And then you tell them, well, then you're gonna listen to me. They like, okay, well, so you supposed to be God or something? Like who you think you are, God?
Nope.
Well, to you I am, because that's what the scripture says. Read it again.
It says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord.
As unto the Lord. Like you, the way a man submits to the Lord,
yeah,
you submit as a woman submit to him.
Yes.
Like unto the Lord. Like unto the Lord. You understand?
Right.
Like this is your Lord. That's why Sarah called her husband Lord.
Right.
Because that's her Lord. This is who when it comes to her connection with the Most High, that's it's at. So the same way you so ready to bow to the God, bow to your husband. Same way you ready to listen to God, listen to your husband. Same way you ready to obey God, obey your husband. You understand? It's the same thing. It's no different. It go hand in hand. Just like it says, husbands, love your wives like Christ loved the church.
Right.
Like we have a duty to uphold as the man. So you're not just submitting to somebody that just got a rod between their legs. You're submitting to somebody that has the authority of the Lord, that's under the authority of the Lord, that has a responsibility to protect you and your children, to protect you and the entire nation, right? So this is what Christ did. Christ taught the churches. He taught all the members. Like I said, we was many members of one body, right? So again, like we are telling you that being submissive and being under a man and being a possession is a very, very valuable thing, because these men that the Lord is setting up he's instilling with authority and power and strength to be able to lead and protect in the right way. All right, read it again.
This is Ephesians chapter 5 verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord.
As unto the Lord, man. And we know what the love of God is, right? The love of God is that we follow his commandments.
Right.
And his commandments is what? All the things that keep us healthy, keep us alive, keep us safe.
That's right.
And that's why. So when you talk about submitting to your man, just believe that he should be loving you according to the love of God. You understand? To be able to love you like himself, and to be able to teach you and to treat you with respect. You understand? Like we just read, like how the Native Indians was doing. You understand? They was treating they treated those women with respect, so long as they were what? Being modest,
right,
and being in order, or being shamefaced, being virtuous, being propriety, in propriety, like that. That's what we're saying you should do. That's what being so that's a part of, being submissive is a part of that. Any more on that?
Yeah. For the husband is the head of the wife.
The husband is the head of the wife, like we just established in Corinthians. Go ahead.
Even as Christ is the head of the church.
Because Christ is just like Christ is the head of the church. And the same way, the same responsibility Christ had as the head of the church, a man has as the head of his wife.
Right.
You understand? So don't get it twisted. It is a responsibility, and this is what we call rank. And with rank comes responsibility. You understand? I'm over you, and I have responsibility over being for being over you as a husband. Like I have to be a husband to you, the way the Lord told me a husband should be. You understand? Just like when it comes to a wife, you have to be a wife to me, and have to be a mother to your kids, and it's a responsibility, and it's way is according to what the Lord said a wife or mother should be. All right, any more on that?
Loud, sir.
All right, drop that. Let me get let's get Isaiah 3:12.
Come.
Isaiah 3:12 real quick. Understand? And you know, we want to bring this out because like we getting all of our people together, man. Not just the men, the women, not just the women, the men too, and the children. Right? We're getting the children right to be able to honor their mother and father and be blameless as well. Be shamefaced as well, to learn and be, acquire abilities and be holy, so on and so forth, man. This is the word of the word of the Most High is sound in all areas for all people. For all, when I say all people, I mean black men, black, Hispanic, Native men and women and children. You understand? Read what you got.
We got Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors.
Right, and what we bringing out right now, like children are our oppressors because we as mother and father and as husband and wife have become so destroyed that we can't even properly raise our children, because while we fighting at each other and gnashing at each other, who's raising the kids? Who's raising them? They're watching us fight and argue. They're seeing us fight and separate. And then when we separate, what happens when the man get put out the household? The discipline gets lost.
Right.
The structure gets lost. What happens when we put the woman out the household? You can't. The nurturing part of it, the loving and caring part of being a man or being a woman is missing. Right. Compassion and things like that. Right. So like that's all important. And what happens is, because of this and all these single parent homes we got, because women are out of order and have been led astray, and because men are out of order as well, is that children grow up and are self-raised. They self-raised, they out in the street, they run in the streets, they learning from the TV, the school is raising them up and every other thing. And now they're ruling everything. They telling the old folks what they gonna do and what they not gonna do. I ain't doing this. I'm not doing that, old man. Old head, old school. I'm not doing this. They ain't listening to their moms. Definitely not listening to their mother.
Right.
Definitely not listening to their mother. They listen to the daddy. They ain't listening to the mother. But at the end of the day, like I said, dad can't do it by himself, just like the mom can't do it by herself.
Right.
So they'll rule over them, and then they'll run the streets, and nobody can tell them nothing. Not their parents, not their grandparents, not even the police, the laws, their teacher, and that's why they end up failing in school. They end up losing their jobs, and they end up in the gangs or in prison. And that's why, because we have lost that vital part of the ranking structure. We've lost that vital part. Christ is not the head of the man, and the man is not the head of the woman, because the woman don't want the man to be the head because she's been told she's the head, and the man don't want to be the head because he's been told that he's the woman. He's the woman. He's equal. And so, none of us are, all of us are falling under our European or Christian doctrine, right? So this is what's been lost now. Like I said, our children and the generations are being affected by that. And they are oppressing us, man. Mm-hmm. That's why you see Christmas getting celebrated, because it's for the kids. You got to do it for the kids. The kids going to be mad if they don't get that PS5 and that Christmas tree. They're going to be mad if we don't get that candy and put them out there for that Halloween. They're going to be upset if we don't get them that birthday party that they looking for. They're going to be upset if they're going to be mad at us if we don't do this, we don't do that. Children are the oppressors. Go ahead.
There's a lot of compounding effects. It's either all one way or all the other way, in the sense that when we follow the Most High's laws, things start to get better for us, such as not being in slavery, which gives us the time to be with our families and teach them the right ways to be. In the society, the way that we have it here, it's the complete opposite. But we have to deal with the daily grind of life, and we have to barely get enough energy to make it through the day, and then come home and expect to lay the foundation for the family to follow. And you see a lot of families struggle with that because what little time they have to try to learn and grow spiritually, they don't have that, which is why we got the I.S.U.P.K here to give us the chance and opportunity to learn the right way to be so that we can go all in with our original culture and start to turn things around one way at a time.
That's
It's a
right.
process, but it's a beautiful process to see it happening, and we doing this one soul at a time until this kingdom gets built.
That's right. Especially after so long of seeing it being so oppressive.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? We seeing it so oppressive, like to see women struggling, man.
yeah,
And to be brothers and being the cause of women struggling in
yep,
some instances,
yeah,
right? You
damn right.
know, and seeing brothers struggle and seeing kids suffer after so long of all of this, like you said, it becomes such a beautiful thing to see black, Hispanic, and Native Indian women and men, women, and children be able to come to a more positive light,
Yeah,
to be able to come into happiness, come into protection, that hedge, you know, come into that refuge and be
yeah,
healed and be, you know, it's such a beautiful thing. It's miraculous.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
it's, it's miraculous. And like the brother was just bringing out, when whether we go back to our beginnings, our ancient beginnings, or go back or go to the future of where you know us learning what we learned from our ancient time to getting back to it, it's all not um is not the same right now, right? So what I'm saying is, like in our time in royalty, you know, we didn't have to worry about homosexuality
right,
being pushed all on our TV every
right,
day. We
exactly.
didn't have to worry about going out and working two double shifts. You know what I mean? Double, you know, working overtime at the slavery and not being able to be a wife at home and you know be a family and see your kids,
Yeah,
and you know brothers having to go out and work and travel and get money and never be able to work so hard. Like this is oppression. We are in captivity is what I'm trying to say. Like we're in captivity. So trying to maintain righteousness and maintain love for one another
yeah,
is 10 times harder because of the oppression, because of the you know the oppression, the affliction, the work, the strenuous work we got to do, the extra responsibilities, the extra fights we got to fight.
yep,
We got to fight everything. So again, not only is it harder, but it can make it so much easier if we created peace in our own households.
right,
We created peace in our own households, understand that we are in captivity, understand that we're Israelites, and we have a whole way of life that we're supposed to be living, and start applying that, then we will start really being able to have heavenly households right here in captivity.
yeah,
Heavenly households to the point where we can go out them doors and probably go through all the hell the white man got to give. But knowing that we could pick up that phone, call our wife, pick up the phone, call your husband, and talk to her or talk to him, and be able to receive love, receive support,
that pillar of rest,
right?
right,
Receive guidance, instruction, counsel to get through it until and know, like I said, ultimately to come home together and be able to not have to fight each other,
yeah,
not have to be fought at home, and be loved at home and embraced at home, no matter when you get there, no matter how often you're there. When you get there and you're there, or whether you're not there, you'll receive love from your wife or from your husband. That's a beautiful thing, and that's what can happen when we apply these things to our lives and understand the benefit of it, and as far as us being in captivity,
right,
and the benefits of it as far as getting out of captivity, because these are all the things that we have to convert back to get out of captivity. All right, well, where we at?
we at Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12.
Go ahead.
As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them.
Women rule over them. So again, like when we go back to like the story of Adam and Eve, like Adam should have been the head. Adam should not have listened to Eve.
Right.
He should not have listened to her. He should have listened to the Most High. That's it. You understand? But when women aren't rulership happens. They put the man out. They create single parent homes. The children become their oppressors. They rule over them, and women rule over everybody else too. Like it's the black man is completely taken out of the equation.
Right.
The only thing that can keep everything intact and in order and structured is taken out, and that's the agenda of Europeans. That's the agenda of Christianity. That's the agenda of all of these religions, to get the black man out the house. Because now we get the black man out of the house, we can do what? Spoil the goods, spoil his possession. Right. And then now children are their oppressors. They wild, like Texas, like Wild West. You understand? Like shooting up, like the general just bringing out, yesterday. They got songs called "My Chopper Killed Niggas." You know what I mean? Like this is absolute like warfare amongst black men. You know what I mean? Like, and and these are our young generation that are putting this content out, that I have this idea of living, killing niggas. Who cares about going to jail? Kill the baby too, whatever. Come to his house, kill the grandma. Like they don't care. That's because they are out of order, because we're out of order.
Right.
You understand? And women are out of order because we're out of order. And it's a trickling down, like you said earlier, Ayalawan. It's a trickling down. And you can either trickle down evil or you could trickle down good and blessings, right? But in order to trickle down blessings, you have to be under the order of Christ, and you have to be following all of these things, even if you don't want to. A lot of women can't fathom being obedient to a man. You understand? A lot of women can't fathom being obedient to a man. It's just like I said, it's foreign. It's like, what? It's a joke. You understand? Like, but to be honest, like that's what's going to help you to have a better life and have a better relationship and have something good for your kids. Same thing for him. And likewise to the man, it's going to be something good for him, because I see the good that women do for men. I mean, I can attest to that myself. Like it's women, or it's been women in my life that have been able to help me to be able to, keep up with stuff that, men probably don't even think of or make time for.
Right.
Because we just going as men, and we just, going, and we just hardcore. But we sometimes need to be told to just take a rest. You know what I mean?
Right.
Get a rest, get a massage, take a shower. You know what I mean? Brush your teeth. Get your hair groomed up and groomed, and get you looking good and feeling good to get back to war. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm trying to say. It's a good thing for all of us. You about to say something?
I was just saying, when it comes to that trickling effect, you see how a lot of women they act a certain way, and they feel a certain way about men, and are expected to think a certain way about men. But what kind of men are they seeing? They're seeing men in the world. So I almost don't blame them for not being able to choose anybody that's good. Thankfully, now we have this truth so that we can become those types of men, and with our brotherhood and our examples that we give to the world, when we are seen in public, when we're seen on the streets, seen in the classes teaching, that eventually what's going to happen is that it's going to spread, that influence is going to spread to the point where women will then see, look, you know what? There are men out there that know what to do.
That's right.
And those are the ones they're going to want to be obedient to.
Those
are the ones that all that hard times of them being alone, it's all going to be worth it when they actually find one of these brothers in this truth.
That's
because
right.
This is what we've been building. Then that's what builds a kingdom.
That's right. Ayalawan, what you bringing out is heavy. And that's why I said I can understand why women feel the way they feel, because, a lot of men are destroyed.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And again, a man is the head of the house. So we got to get in order for get our women in order.
Right.
That's the way it got to happen.
Right.
So again, now we're in order. We're here we are.
Yep.
You understand? So you got to not only listen to us, but when you take these brothers as your husband, you have to obey them. You have to obey them, and you'll feel good about it, because we're not going to misuse you. We're not going to disrespect you. We're not going to, hurt you or treat you like trash. We value you because we understand the value of a woman because of these same scriptures that provided us with the value as a man. Right. So again, like, we got to understand what the truth is and how it's coming out in the earth, and how we got to have to deviate from all that we knew. and all that we've experienced and know. Like we got to deviate from that stuff and realize that the truth is here now. The Lord's priests and prophets are here now. And we've shed ourselves of the world, cleaned ourselves up, and we cleaned up brothers and sisters.
Right.
And the children are just falling in line.
Right.
They falling right in line. All right. Drop that. I'm gonna close it out. Let's see. Let me see. Maybe I get one more scripture in this 3 minutes.
If I could just add on.
Nah, go ahead. Go ahead. After that, we're gonna close it out.
I just wanted to kind of double touch on that fact that, you know, how important it is for us to put in this work in the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we're in the world, I'm gonna be honest, everything that we do is because we're trying to chase after women. Damn near seems like, or get our own situation to be better, to try to get ourselves to be more comfortable. But the scripture said, what did it say? Arise ye therefore and depart, for this is not your rest. We're not supposed to be getting comfortable here. We're supposed to be putting in work to build our nation up. And the funny thing is, all this time you spend wasting running around in the world trying to please her or please whatever it is you're doing, you should have been focusing on putting this work in. Because at the end result, this is going to benefit those people that you care about. It's going to benefit everybody around you when they see the righteous example building in you.
That's right.
And then you get to go to war against them when they try to come against you. And then when they come to find out that the way that you're living is perfect and that the way that they're living is incorrect, that's just the icing on the table. What's that called? The cherry on top. You know what I mean? Like that's the sweet part about it, that you get to see that your works is actually changing this entire planet. You could turn this whole planet around, but it has to begin with yourself and turning yourself around too.
That's right, Doc. That's right. And we got to do it. We all got a responsibility, man. Like I said, when it comes to that rank and that hierarchy in that household, rank comes with responsibility, man. We all got responsibilities. We got responsibility as husbands. We got responsibility as wives. We got responsibility as brothers. We got responsibility as sisters. And pertaining to our sisters, like I said, we got to get our sisters in order to the point where the older women is teaching the younger women, and to the point to teaching them good things, and to the point that the older women and the younger women is looking out for any woman that's not doing the things according to what the Bible says is virtuous or modest, right? That they will be offended by their own sisters. You know what I mean? That's what we really starting to see these days lately. I've been seeing a lot lately. I've been seeing black women that's coming out and using their voice and their platform to tell women the truth.
Yeah.
To get women on board with the reality of what we dealing with and how they out of order, and telling them why the things are the way it is. Because just like Shiraz, what's her name? Shahrazad Ali. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Just like her, there's women today that are telling women why things are the way it is, and how if you keep going like this, and guess what, women with that, especially with that feminist, that great feminist, that feminist presence in the earth today, they're more reluctant to listen to another woman than listen to a man. So these women that are going out and teaching their sisters and telling them these good things are essentially the best hope for these sisters. You understand? Like, we get to these sisters and these sisters get to other sisters, and then we will clean up like that. We're gonna clean up. That's sisterhood, man. That's sisterhood, man. But with that, I'm gonna pass the class over to Trooper Yalawan.
So we're gonna do the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. These are the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for the new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6-month period, they will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, is found in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verses 21. Malachi, chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Ma'ashara means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of any penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest funds, free will offerings for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. We have the we have the memorial of the blowing of trumpets, which is to take place on the first day of the 7th month, Monday the 6th, September 2021. You can find this in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 24 and 25. Followed by the Day of Atonement shortly after, which is to take place on the 10th day of the 7th month. This is going to take place Wednesday, the 15th, September 2021. This is found in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 27 through 32. If anybody wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black. That includes boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, that concludes the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. All right, we're gonna send up the prayers now.
You're gonna do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew?
Want to do that?
Yeah, we just gonna do the Lord's Prayer.
Sir. Lord's Prayer in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. Abanawa.
Abanawa.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Kodash.
Kodash.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Shemka.
Shemka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Malakuka.
Malafuka.
Taba'ah.
Taba'ah.
Ratazaka.
Ratazayaka.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Ba'arataza.
Ba'aratiza.
Kawa.
Kawa.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Bashamayim.
Bashamayim.
Nathanlanao.
Nathanlanao.
Lacham.
Lacham.
Kal.
Kal.
Yawam.
Yawam.
Wasalathanao.
Wasalatlanao.
Kabawathno.
Kabawathno.
Kasalakno.
Kasalakno.
Kabawathino.
Kabawathno.
Wala'ah.
Wala'ah.
Tabi'ayno.
Tabi'ayno.
Banasaya 1.
Banasaya 1.
Abal.
Abal.
Hawashayno.
Hawashayno.
Mayan.
Mayan.
Rai.
Rai.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Hamalakwa.
Hamalakwa.
Waha'ala.
Waha'ala.
Watapara.
Wahatapara.
La'awalumyum.
La'awalumyum.
Aman.
Aman. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth.
As
it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day.
Our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not.
And lead us not
into temptation.
Into temptation.
But deliver us.
But deliver
from
us
evil.
From evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
So be it.
So be it.
Sorry, trying to face the front. We're going to do one courtesy salute for the Akim. Minavijra Majim Shabbat. Aimadium. Barak. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Barakatah. Yazmatah. So we're going to do another courtesy salute for the sisters. Minavijra Majim Shabbat. Aimadium. Barak. Yahweh Shema Alatah Ba'ashim Yahushua. Yazmatah. Class dismissed. Let's try and pray. Make sure we get the attendance taken for everybody that checked in.